An American Trilogy Part 1. Ruby Ridge, a tragic clash of power and autonomy. In the misty embrace of northern Idaho's mountainous cradle, nestled amidst whispering pines and shadowy crags, lay the remote sanctuary of Ruby Ridge. This sequestered haven became the stage for a grievous drama that would etch itself indelibly into the annals of American history. The year was 1992, a time when the winds of discord and suspicion coursed through the veins of a divided nation. Randy Weaver, a former Green Beret, sought refuge from what he perceived as the encroaching tentacles of a government grown too mighty and intrusive. With his wife, Vicky, and their children, he carved out a humble existence in the wilderness, their cabin a fortress of self-reliance and isolation. Yet the seeds of this tale were sown in the fertile ground of mistrust and misjudgment, destined to bloom into a harrowing confrontation. The Weavers' retreat into solitude did not escape the notice of the federal authorities. Entrapped by an undercover informant, Randy was accused of selling 2 illegally modified shotguns to an undercover agent, a charge that would ignite a chain reaction of legal entanglements. Summoned to court, Weaver's defiance and fear of perceived judicial overreach culminated in his failure to appear, prompting the issuance of a bench warrant for his arrest. Thus began the orchestration of a tactical response, with federal agents converging upon Ruby Ridge like a dark cloud, threatening a tempest. The stage was set for a siege, an endeavor cloaked in the somber tones of necessity and inevitability, yet fraught with peril and miscalculation. The morning of August 21st, 1992, dawned with an ominous stillness. U.S. Marshals, tasked with surveillance and apprehension, found themselves ensnared in a violent skirmish. The encounter resulted in the tragic death of the Weavers' 14-year-old son, Samuel, and U.S. Marshal William Deegan. The siege tightened its grip around the Weaver homestead, transforming it into a crucible of tension and despair. Within the walls of their modest cabin, the family endured a harrowing ordeal, their resolve tested by the unyielding gaze of a military-grade force arrayed against them. Outside, the agents wrestled with the weight of their mandate, navigating the murky waters of rules of engagement that allowed for the use of deadly force against armed adults perceived as threats. On the second day of the siege, tragedy struck with merciless precision. An FBI sniper, aiming to neutralize what was deemed an imminent threat, discharged a bullet that fatally wounded Vicky Weaver as she cradled her infant daughter, Elisheba, in her arms. The bullet also struck Randy, rendering him gravely injured. This act, intended to restore order, instead deepened the chasm of grief and outrage, galvanizing a chorus of public outcry and condemnation. The standoff dragged on for days, a grim tableau of human suffering and institutional rigidity. Negotiations, fraught with distrust and the specter of further violence, finally yielded a fragile cessation. On August 31st, Randy Weaver and the surviving family members emerged from their shattered refuge, their spirits scarred by the ordeal. In the wake of the siege, the halls of justice reverberated with the echoes of the incident. Randy Weaver stood trial, facing an array of charges including murder, assault, and conspiracy. Yet, in a courtroom swathed in the hues of public scrutiny, he was acquitted of the most severe charges, convicted only of failing to appear for his initial court date, and violating his bail conditions. The government's handling of the Ruby Ridge incident became a lightning rod for criticism, prompting intense scrutiny and numerous investigations. A Senate subcommittee inquiry lambasted the actions and decisions that precipitated the tragedy, casting a shadow over the institutions involved. Settlements were reached and apologies issued, but the scars lingered, a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between authority and liberty. The Ruby Ridge incident, steeped in sorrow and controversy, emerged as a cautionary tale of the perils inherent in the collision between governmental power and individual autonomy. It underscored the critical importance of judicious restraint and empathetic engagement in the execution of law enforcement duties. In the broader narrative of American history, Ruby Ridge serves as a somber milestone, reflecting the fractures within a society grappling with questions of governance, civil liberties, and the sanctity of life. Its lessons echo across the decades, a clarion call for vigilance, governmental accountability, and the enduring pursuit of justice in the face of ever-expanding governmental power and overreach. Thus, the tale of Ruby Ridge, with its tapestry woven of tragedy and reflection, remains etched in the collective consciousness, a dramatic testament to the complexities of human conflict and the profound consequences of unchecked bureaucratic power.